So welcome everybody to Daily Intimacy. It is Wednesday, and I'm so happy to be here again with each of you. I love the structure of having something to do every week, every day at 9 a.m. It's been really, really supportive, and it's been great to have so many people here to tune in and to practice together and to connect. So thank you for everybody posting in the chat. Framingham, 8, slept well last night, so you feel good, Beth. Awesome. I slept really well too. 9, that's great. And wherever you are, you are. So welcome back to everybody. Whatever you want to share, it is really welcome here. I just want you to know that. And we have a safe space to connect and also to share what's in our hearts. And in a few minutes, I guess we'll introduce Elizabeth Carrington, who is a dear friend and colleague. Really happy to have her here this morning. And I am going to begin, as we do, with a centering. So I just want to invite everybody to have a breath and gently close your eyes. And if you want to, stand up, sit down, lie down, whoever you want to be, is perfectly great for this moment. So let's do 3 really deep cleansing breaths. So what I mean is I'm going to invite you to take a breath in through the nose, fill your belly, and then exhale with a sound. So if you haven't taken this moment to close your eyes, please do that now. Have a nice deep breath into the belly. And exhale. And let's do that 2 more times. And once more. Good. And then staying with yourself, I invite you to relax your belly, relax your shoulders. Bring your energy from your head to the ground. So notice where you're feeling a lot of energy this morning. Maybe it's in your head, maybe it's in your belly. And just use your imagination and see that energy, whatever it looks like to you or feels like to you, and allow it to travel down the body and to the earth. So just take a few breaths to do that, whatever that means. And sometimes people don't know what that means, and that's okay. Just have the intention to do that, or imagine something traveling, a color or an image, down to the earth. And then I invite you to plant that energy. That's what's coming to me this morning, is to connect with the earth. Perhaps put your hands on the soil first. In some places, the soil is still very cold. In some places, it's warming up and spring is bursting through with flowers. And some of us are in the middle of both. Put your hands on the earth and then dig a little hole in the earth. And as if you're planting something very precious, because you are, I invite you to take whatever it was that you released down and just cup your hands in your imagination, put it into the earth, and cover it up. And then you want to add a little fertilizer, perhaps, and some water, and make sure there's lots of sunshine. And you might protect it with a little gate around it, or some kind of fencing, something to create a sacred space that you can find again, that you can come back to again, so you know where it is. During this time of literally, in many ways, being internal and inside, it's a rich time to plant seeds for growth later on. And it's actually really important that we do. So here this morning, you planted something. And I look forward to hearing what sprouts, what comes up out of the earth, what's reborn, what grows for you. Have a breath and gently open your eyes when you're ready. And come on back. Okay, how's the sound? Just give me a thumbs up if the volume sound is okay. Like I didn't put my headset on, but it's good. Okay, I won't put my headset on. Great. Okay, so one other tip, if you don't know already, you can do speaker view and see who's speaking in the big screen. And if not, gallery view gives you the kind of Hollywood squares look. I wanted to introduce Elizabeth Carrington, who's here with us this morning. And Elizabeth has been someone I've known in my community for a really long time. I don't know, probably 10, 12 years at least. And she comes to us, she'll, you say this about yourself, I'm going to say it too. She was a coach before that was even like a thing, before it became like this big thing to be a coach. Elizabeth's been a coach for a very, very long time, and she's done a lot of corporate work and personal work herself, and obviously, and work with individuals, groups of all sizes, and has traveled all over the world to do that, and is now really focusing her work on relationship and pleasure and sexual connection and intimacy through all that she brings, and also through some newer body of work called the Erotic Blueprints. And so this morning, and when I asked Elizabeth to participate, I asked, what would you like to talk about? And she said, I'd like to talk about connecting with ourselves through pleasure. And I'm really, really happy to have that subject here this morning. As I said to Elizabeth earlier, we haven't addressed pleasure, and what an opportunity we have the time and to counter, everything that's going on out there with an intention for pleasure. Like, I am such a yes to that. So I'm really, really grateful that you're here, and really look forward to what you are ready to share with us. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Robyn.
Yeah.
Thanks for the wonderful vision of doing this every day. And I myself know the value of having the structure of just something to look forward to each day in a particularly unsettling and chaotic time, it feels like. And so this is a really wonderful anchor. And I thank you especially for thinking of me to include me in your buffet of wonderful options. So I'm here to talk about pleasure and why it matters right now. And it seems like maybe that's a bit paradoxical, right? Like, in some ways we're like a little in stun deer mode still, like, oh my God, my life changed overnight for most of us. There was a radical change, at least, and it's uncertain, and we all know how humans do with uncertainty and not knowing, and there's fear and what's going to happen, and what we're going to talk about pleasure, and I think it's the perfect time in many ways to talk about pleasure, because it's the opportunity to turn back toward ourselves. And so there's many of you I don't know here, so I'm really grateful to have the chance to meet you, at least virtually. And I was going to say a little bit about my background, but I think Robyn did a good job. The only thing I want to say in the present is that after all those years of coaching, I have found a subset of that, which is around pleasure and erotic intelligence. And that seems to be my greatest joy to work with people in. And so I've sort of taken my funnel of being a coach, a broad coach in many different aspects, and kind of just pointed it now toward individuals and couples in reclaiming aspects of themselves and pleasure and their eroticism and their own freedom to express themselves. That seems to be my absolute joy right now to bring forward. So what I find is that whether we're in relationship or we're not in relationship, it doesn't really matter. In many ways, we're disconnected from our expression of pleasure. And it can be sexual, it can be sensual, there's all different ways that pleasure can show up. It's not exclusive to anything. It can be in just pausing to take a breath in a moment, just to like feel the, I'm alive, you know, the feeling of just being here now, being healthy now. That's a pleasurable noticing, like, oh, my body. Thank you, body. You know, so I mean pleasure in the broadest of senses. And so one of my latest teachers, you know, being a coach for 25 years, I keep studying human behavior and maps of understanding people and dynamics that, you know, like I can't help myself. I'm always going to the next workshop or the next map of understanding something. And so one of my latest teachers' names is Jaya, who is the inventor of the erotic blueprints, which I've been doing a lot of live teaching about, and I'm now in the process of transitioning to, okay, let's do this virtually, because there's no time to wait for being connected to ourselves. Like, just because we can't be in the same room, you know, doesn't mean we can't learn to connect in deeper ways with each other. So I'm just holding that possibility for myself as I see people step into that. Also, other teachers step into that. Why can't we do it virtually, you know? So she talks about pleasure, and we all know this, right? But I'm reminded of it after spending the weekend with her this weekend in a virtual training, how impactful pleasure is to our immune system, right? And to our nervous system, and how it literally, as we're feeling connected to pleasure, it strengthens us. It increases good chemicals, you know, the oxytocin, the dopamine, and balances our hormones. We feel more connected and resourceful within ourselves, more fulfilled. I mean, there's a long list of things that we know about the impact of pleasure and how it positively affects us. And most of us, including myself, over and over again, of course, forget to prioritize it. So I thought I'd do a couple things today. I thought I would share just a few things that I'm practicing and learning about how to stay connected with my pleasure at this time, and invite you to share, you know, how you're doing it. I'd love it to be interactive. I get bored with hearing myself talk, and it's so much more fun and connective to hear your input as well. And then I wanted to, toward the end, do a pleasurable meditation and grounding, just to really reinforce what we've talked about and to let it settle more deeply into the body. So we'll probably do that in about probably less than a half an hour. So a little talking, and then some embodiment and some practice of being in a place of pleasure and letting that vibration and choice, you know, be present for you for a little while. So I think I have maybe three things that I've been doing in a conscious way daily. One of them I already said is this whole concept of prioritizing pleasure. And I notice that right now for myself, as people are figuring out very quickly how to transition their whole life into Zoom or into an online format, that it seems like I have more opportunities than ever to have a full calendar in this time that I'm home all the time in my little office. I can't believe how busy my life could be and has been. And now every day I'm like, what is the thing that's truly a yes for me, that I really, not just to fill up my calendar, you know, but because I'm really, my body's leaning in toward it rather than, oh, that sounds like something to do, you know, from my mind. And what I find is that when I check in with my body around what's my yes or my no, that's my most reliable ally. So am I leaning in? Or it's like I did a Zoom call the other night and I thought it would be a great idea. And I got halfway into the call and I was like, I'm done. I just don't want to be here. And in my body, literally in my chair, my body was just like, I'm done, you know? And it's like, okay, I communicated, I need to leave. It's just time for me to go now. Thank you, you know? And it was like, all right. So that's a baby step at being true in the moment. I'm trying to get more better at doing that in advance because I don't want to be leaving conversations that I get involved in. But I also am giving myself some permission right now to learn. It's like we're learning a new way to be in life. You know, we're learning a new way to be with ourselves, with each other, in this online world. And so I invite all of us, you know, to have some space and some flexibility for ourselves to be able to make choices and learn how to make good choices in this new environment that we're all a part of. And the other part about prioritizing pleasure is just like, in a given moment, you know, throughout the day, you know, I'm starting to like train this into myself. It's like, what would make this experience more pleasurable for me right now? Like right now. So I'll ask myself the question, what would make this? And my answer right away is, I'm looking out my window at my neighbor's garden where there's some crocuses popping their heads up, and it makes me smile. You know, it's like, oh, they're so beautiful. And that's, I guess, one way of just keeping this conversation alive in my consciousness, just inviting myself to that. Maybe that's just the question, you know, to what would make this more pleasurable for me right now? Put my diffuser on with a little bit of essential oil that smells good to me today. You know, touch my arm, give myself a hug, you know, just be here with myself. That would make it more pleasurable for me. We can actually connect with ourselves. We can build oxytocin in our own systems, contacting and connecting with ourselves, right? So ask yourself right now, what would make this experience more pleasurable for you right now? And just take a breath and take a moment and see what you get. And if you feel like commenting in the chat, we'd love to hear. You can grab something close to you, and you can, I have this hair clip, you know, you can just feel it. Oh, it's got a little, you know, scratches me a little. Oh, gentle scratch. I don't know. Like, just look around. Don't go far. Grab something. Look outside. Take a breath. All of these things are enough. You know, what would make this moment more pleasurable for me right now? So just enjoy whatever you came up with. Sometimes at night I take a bubble bath to end my day, because I feel like that is, for me, such a total, you know, that's what I do when I have time. But having time and making time, you know, so now I'm like, well, I think I'm just going to make that my bookend of my day. You know, I start my day with yoga and my day with a bubble bath. I'm recalibrating how my life feels. And I'm constantly trying to include that question of what would make this more pleasurable for me right now. So that is a little bit of my, maybe my most important practice. Another practice that I've been very, I go in and out of, but I feel like it's, I keep saying it's my sanity practice. It's time in nature. And that can be from literally getting outside my door and breathing the fresh air, to walking around my neighborhood, just saying hi to people. Have you noticed how much friendlier people are right now? Like, I can't believe I see like 30 people every time I walk these days, and nobody walks by without waving or saying hello. It used to be I would just be in my little bubble and I'd be walking and they'd be walking, and, you know, just maybe you'd say hi, maybe you wouldn't. But now it's like, hi, how you doing? You know, and it's so different. It's like there's a genuine feeling of being connected and care even that I feel from other people. How are you doing? Yeah, thanks. I'm doing all right. How are you? Not the throwaway, how you doing? But how are you doing? You know? And so just getting outside and having those experiences, whether it's with a person or with a tree, you know, I have this place in my neighborhood where I can walk down the concrete road, and then it turns into a dirt road, and then it turns into trails. And I noticed like 3 levels in my my nervous system and my body, like, oh, it's great to be outside walking on the road. And then I get to the dirt road and it's like, oh, I'm moving farther away from civilization in some way. And then I get to the forest and I'm like, oh, now I feel like I'm being held and embraced by the trees. And so I invite you to play with whatever it is that brings you the most pleasure. And I'm curious if you notice a difference in different places that you've walked or been outside or visited. What's the most nourishing to you? That's the question I want to ask. What's the most nourishing for you when you get outside? And do you notice a difference? Maybe it's not true for everybody. So if you want to make a comment, feel free.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody wants to share too, because that's a really good question.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
you want to share anything about that, just put me in the chat and we'll unmute you. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, please.
And on the flip side of that, if you're one who's having trouble finding what's pleasurable and what's nourishing right now, that would also be, this is a great opportunity to have a conversation directly with Elizabeth. So you could put me in the chat and we'll unmute you.
Nice, 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 nice. So yeah, please interact as much as you'd like.
Yeah, and the question was, what's the most nourishing and pleasurable? So feel free to please do put your responses to that in the chat.
Yeah.
Matthew says, need a hug, human contact.
Yeah.
I just lit my scented candle. Awesome.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Andrew says, walking on the beach, getting smiles from others. Seems like we're all sharing a common experience. Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
Nature is great. Seeing trees, my cats. People are really avoiding eye contact here also. I'll say it's kind of a mix. Public parks and hiking trails are closed. Yeah. Thank you, Alfred. Anybody want to unmute and share anything about challenges, finding something nourishing, or just want to share an experience that was very pleasurable? You're welcome to. Microwave bed buddy to enjoy heat on self. Nice. That is very good.
Very creative.
That's awesome. Yeah. My puppies have been bringing me a lot of pleasure.
Oh, of course.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Love the daily walks and smiles. Wish to give and receive hugs though. Yeah.
Yeah. So just take a moment, everyone, right now, and just like give yourself a hug. Take a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just embrace yourself. Just embrace yourself fully. Give your shoulders a little squeeze. Give your lower arm, hold yourself for at least 7 seconds. We know that we need 7 seconds of a hug to create that oxytocin filling feeling. So just stay there. Give it another breath. And just tell yourself right now, as you're holding yourself, I can fill myself up. I can nourish myself. I'm here for me. I'm here. I'm here for me. And just reassure yourself. I am the biggest touch junkie on the planet, and I totally feel you. All of you people that want more touch, I totally feel you. And I've noticed that the more I reinforce to myself that I can be here for me, I am slowly relaxing into that as a truth. So just take one final breath and just notice the impact of that. What did you actually notice? Not from your mind of what you think, but from your body. What did you actually notice? Yeah. I actually noticed a little bit of, I felt like a settling in, a little more groundedness happened for me. Yeah, calm and acceptance, Mark, yeah. Yeah, it felt like a real hug. Yeah, oh, that's beautiful, Laura. And felt the love, yeah, filling up. Oh, it makes me cry. We just have to shift a little bit to knowing we can provide this for ourselves right now. You know, we all long for this. This is human 101, right? But we forget we have these beautiful hands and arms right here, you know? So thank you for playing. Oh yeah. Yeah, it didn't really work for you, Sean. I get it. I hear you. I invite you to keep giving it a shot anyway, and see if there's a place that you can overcome the no in you to get maybe even to neutral. You know, not like there's a right way to do it, but you are who you've got right now. So I invite you to keep playing with yourself in that way and seeing what's possible. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and you mentioned the bath, Elizabeth, which of course is a simple thing, but at the same time, it's like, you know, the touching ourselves, you know, lands for some people and doesn't for others. And then it makes me think like the warmth of a bath, or even feet in a bathtub, or if you don't have a bathtub, feet in a big pot of water. You know, so you're getting a little of the external input and a warmth that, you know, for me just feels like a really big hug.
Yeah, no, thank you for reminding me of that. I that is so my truth. I didn't remember that, but I was a competitive swimmer all my life, and I always say that I lived most of my life out of my body, except when I was swimming. And I would get out of the pool and I would feel like my whole body was alive and present and tingly and here, you know. And I think that the water in some way is like a holding environment for us that does, if you envision it being a giant hug or a giant embrace or a warm place to land, whatever works for you. There is something about water as a medium, and especially warm water, I think, that is very nourishing. So another invitation to give that a try and see, you know. And if it doesn't work for you the first time, I invite you to try it a couple more times and see again, because we got to use what we have right now, right? And how we are in this time will so determine how we come out of this time. You know, if we're in this place of pent up angst and fear and uncertainty, which is a natural human response, right? But if we don't do things to counter that consciously and deliberately, then I think we come out of this time in a more weak place. Whereas my vision for all of us, including myself, is that we come out of this isolation time, this time of turning inward, right, as stronger and more grounded and more connected to ourselves, right, and to the earth, maybe. You know, really that we have an invitation here. So yeah, I invite you to keep exploring how you can nourish yourself, A cup of hot tea also is a beautiful thing. You could consider it like an inner hug, you know, that warmth of coming and filling you inside can be a beautiful thing too. Okay, so what else? There were 3 things I think I said. What's my other thing I do? Oh, well, yeah, this one, again, they all sound so simple, but I think some of the things are really simple right now. So the 2 words I wrote down were slow down. What I realized for myself is that fear and anxiety puts me in a racy state. You know, it's like a race inside. I went to, my big field trip this week was to go to the springs and get my fresh, beautiful alkalinized water, you know. So I was just going with my bottles to the spring and back. I wasn't going to see anyone, touch anyone, do anything, you know, but it was a big deal. I was so excited. And I'm telling you, I was driving there. It's so embarrassing. I was driving there like I was on a schedule, like I was in a rush, you know. I had to get there and get back. And I just noticed in that moment, I pulled my car over to the side of the road and I'm like, stop it, Elizabeth. You are in no rush. You have all the time in the world. Like, I'm saying this to slow myself down. Like, you have nowhere to be. You can take all the time you need, you know, just be here enjoying the freedom of a drive to the springs, you know. And so I got back on the road, and don't you know, on the way home, the same thing's happening. I'm like getting there, you know? And so there's this like time of consciously practicing slowing down my thinking, that internal racing consciousness that we think there's something we need to be doing or getting or making happen. I don't know. So I am on my walks doing the same thing. I'm walking like I've got to get through my walk. This is my sanity. This is my joy of being outside. And I notice that I'm in a hurry inside. Can anyone else relate to this? This is just me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, rushing, right, to nowhere. That's what I was doing. I'm like, I got to get somewhere. Totally, Mitchell. Like, oh, yes, just downtime for you. Yeah, beautiful. Yep, just be and breathe. It's like, how much permission can we give ourselves right now to slow down and to feel the joy of just being here, alive, healthy? Just the simple things, you know? Yeah. And maybe even as an adjunct to that, then looking for the good, looking for the good, looking for the opportunities as we are slowing down. What are the opportunities? I've been cleaning out my office like crazy. Like, I don't know, like I turned around, I'm like, I've got all this stuff. I don't need it. Like 250 CDs from my 80s collection, you know, I don't need them. I've got Spotify. So
yes, I just interject. Yes.
I don't need them. 50 journals that I've kept in my life. I've never read one of them. Time to go. Like, if I'm not using it, actively engaging in it, I'm letting it go. And so I'm looking for opportunities, right, to release and find good, what is it? It's almost like finding inspiration, right, in the mundane. It was really satisfying to clear out my desk. You know, that was a joy to me and a satisfaction. And it seemed so mundane, but it actually was really like I was shedding weight. That's what it felt like. I was shedding weight, you know? So finding the good and what you're grateful for right now. I remember when gratitude journals were a big thing. I think it was the Morning Pages person. I can't remember the name of the author, but anyway, that started a movement of gratitude, and people were doing all this great gratitude writing. And I haven't been doing it, but it just dropped in as a potential thing to offer, just as to write 10 things you're grateful for at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, whatever works for you, or both. But keeping your attention right now on things that you're grateful for, I think, is also a way to stay connected to pleasure, to slow down and take stock, and to just have a moment of sanity, right? Because I notice for myself, like the gauge of, like, I tune into the news a little bit, but I have a line. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but if I wake up thinking anything that starts with the letter C, you know, COVID or coronavirus or something, literally, if I'm thinking of that, I've watched too much of the news. So that's sort of my tipping point. It's like, I'm waking up thinking about a virus, you know? So I pull it back, and I want to be aware of what's happening in the world. And I also don't want to be enmeshed in it, right? So whatever you notice for you, again, what's the pleasurable balance for you? What is it that you need to stay connected? If you need that, some people don't need it right now. Some people are saying, I'm just living my life and I'm letting that be over there. Fine, good, great for you. Some people are more immersed in it than others, and it doesn't affect them negatively. For some of us, you know, that are more empathetic energy, you know, like, I get overstimulated by it. And so I have to balance it for myself. It's like sugar. Too much sugar, you're not good for me, you know. Too much news, not good. So ask yourself, what's my right balance with the outside world and the inside world right now? What do I need? What's enough? you know, and just asking yourself that question to find out what's true for you. So,
Elizabeth, something just occurred to me
yeah.
while you're talking and in the chat, which is like almost a little NLP technique, or even just a cognitive behavioral technique, not to get all clinical, very simple.
Yeah.
If you wake up thinking of that C word, which sometimes happens to me as well, which is, to your point, like, that's a little crazy to wake up thinking about a virus. Okay, but okay, you know, this is what's happening right now. But I love, somebody put, I like cake, and then it started going on about cake.
Chocolate cake. Carefree. Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so the shift is like, just to shift the word, just what you said. Yeah. Like C is, you know, what? Cake. Someone said cake. Someone
creativity,
said
connecting.
Connecting.
Yeah.
So it's like a way to just take the mind and shift it to another thought, just with intention. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I love that, Mark. Creative ways to feel pleasure. That's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So good. So yeah, the resource of shifting our mindset, of shifting where our thinking is going, consciously slowing ourselves down, right? And giving ourselves timeouts in fresh air, wherever that is nourishing for you. And what would make this moment more pleasurable for me right now? Those are the tools that I've been using and connecting with. And so I know we're getting toward the end and we wanted to do the meditation, but if there is CBT, if there's any other tools that you've been using or anything you'd like to share, I'd love to hear more input. So anything else that's been working for you that you feel nourishes
Sarah.
you?
Yeah, Sarah raised her hand. Why don't you,
Great.
Unmute yourself? Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been, you know, when you ask what makes you feel pleasure, I've always wanted to do belly dancing, for example, and I just never found the time, and the whole doing it online by myself in front of a video just never felt like the way I wanted to do it. But now we have no other option than to do it that way. So I decided, what do I have to lose, right? Like everybody's doing everything online. Why don't I give it a try? And it's been so pleasurable for me because I feel like belly dancing connects me with my body in a very sensual way. It's rhythmic. It helps me get my body moving. And I'm doing it for me, right? Like I love to dance, but I love to partner dance. And so belly dancing, you never need a partner. It's all about you and being in touch with your body and being able to learn how to let your body move in a sensual way. So I've just been really embracing that as an activity that I'm doing for me, for myself, that is making me feel connected in a way that I never thought I'd experience doing it with the video, you know?
Totally.
So I just wanted to share
love
that.
it. It's so great. What a wonderful story. I love it. Congratulations. It seems like such a self-loving choice that you've made, right? It's like you've got the time, it's available online. Why not? You just gave it a shot, you know, and look at all the joy that it's creating. It's wonderful. So wonderful. Yeah. So as an inspiration and encouragement for all of us to keep, what is it that I've wanted to do? Have I been wanting to write? Or what's the thing that I never have time to do that now I have time to do? If I don't fill up my schedule too much on Zoom. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that so much. Anyone else have a particular thing that they've stretched out of their comfort zone or they've started that's new for them that you've been wanting to do but haven't done yet? Laura, I want to learn belly dancing. Yeah, right. Well, there you go. Follow the inspiration of Sarah.
Yeah, and painting I see, and
Good, yeah, art.
social media fasts. Very good.
Yes. Oh, good job.
Oh, looks like Alfred's waving. He wants to share.
Hey, Alfred.
Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hello.
I've been doing some work for a while. It feels like the world has finally shifted into the gear that I've been in already for a while. The final effect is that I feel like I'm in a place where I have something to offer. I have a lot of tools and experiences and whatnot that have been mostly for me up to this point, but it's about bringing it outward. Don't really know how to do that right now, but this is the new thing that probably wouldn't have done, but it's working. It's giving me a connection to people I would never have been connected to otherwise, in a way that is meaningful, and it's not something that's difficult to do. It's you know, I've been living alone and working pretty deeply for quite some time, and I'm doing all right through all of this. It feels like I've been preparing for this for a while. I don't know that I'm feeling deeply what's going on. I do pay attention, but pay attention to myself and know when to turn it off, and that's working.
Yeah.
So right now I'm feeling a bubble of excitement. I had to feel like I had to share who's going to bring.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So again, it's just kind of an open-ended thing for me right now. I know how to slow down, and I feel like I can offer, I don't know, an open space for other people to take a breath as well. And that's about all any of us can do at the moment.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But if you feel particularly called to that, right, I invite you to invite your friends into a situation like this and say, I'm here if you want to just show up, right?
Going to start small, I think.
Totally.
It's already happening. I did one with Bryn this morning.
Yeah.
But our business networking group has switched over to that as well, which to me was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, but it's the same group. The camaraderie's still there. The connection's still there. I can see how some people are not doing well with it.
Yeah.
How others are pushing through it. And I'm in a place of, there's something I can bring to these people. I know them all. I think I'm in a different place than I've ever seen them before.
Yeah, yeah.
All I can do is just stay open myself. That's all I'm focused on right now. And when you do walk down the street and you see people that you wave to that you never saw before, I take the time for that brief moment because I miss it so much. I miss the connection so much because
totally.
Reached a point where it's like, oh, now I'm finally at a point in my process where I can really connect with people. And then this happens.
Yeah.
Another test. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Alfred, for sharing.
Thanks.
I'm so grateful. Yeah, and so great that you're seeing what gifts you can offer right now. Because I think this is a time that's ripe for leadership, like self-initiated leadership is what I've been calling it. Like, what's something that you can bring? And I say this to you, Alfred, you're getting in touch with that, all of us. What can I bring to the table here to bring more connectivity? Like, what is it you care about? Do you care about groundedness, connectivity, intimacy? Robyn's got that as a passion, right? So she's doing her part. She's bringing more intimacy. We wouldn't be connecting here without Robyn, So what is it that you want to bring forward right now? And if everyone did that, we'd all be in a way, way, way better place, right? Because we're all bringing gifts that we have to share. So beautiful. Thanks, Alfred. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Let's go to Andrew, and then we'll go to the meditation that we have planned. So, Andrew, can you unmute yourself, or?
Yep, I just unmuted myself.
Oh, great, thanks.
Thanks. So I just wanted to resonate. I'm really resonating with Alfred there. One of the things that I've done recently is I started making a list of all these people that I feel that I've had I would feel having a phone conversation with, but I know that they're home now. It's not as if I have to worry about whether they're at work or they're someplace else. So I just make an intention to each day talk to somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time.
Beautiful.
And make that phone call. And it's many of them are like Alfred. I feel like I have something to offer that when I'm calling in that space, that there's a quietness and there's a way to have conversation, which wasn't there so much in the past.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you for responding to your own inner inclination, right, to bring that forward for all of us, because
it's also pleasurable. I mean,
it
it's very
is
pleasurable.
pleasurable.
Just sitting there
Totally.
and knowing you're going to make this phone call with this person you haven't talked to in a long time,
right?
And the conversation goes in a direction you never expected. There's real pleasure in that.
There is so much, yeah. And having a positive impact on someone's day, I mean, that feels so darn good, you know, like, oh, wow, they really enjoyed our conversation, and so did I. It's a win-win. So beautiful. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Robyn, you ready to move into the meditation a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. This is
Okay.
so wonderful.
Super, super.
Yeah.
Okay, so so let's all close our eyes again and just find yourself comfortable. If you want to stay seated or lie down or whatever is the most pleasurable for you. And just take a couple of breaths as you bring your attention inside. And see if you can follow your breath as you inhale all the way down into your belly. Letting your belly expand. And just take a moment to consciously slow down. Like you're putting your body and your breath into a slower gear. And feel your body in the chair that you're in, or on the bed, or wherever you are. Feel your body and feel what it's on. Feel the support of your bed or your chair or the floor. Just notice your body is supported in some way. And just breathe into that. And feel your feet also on the surface of the floor or your rug or whatever. And just take a breath all the way down into your feet, saying hello to your feet. And feeling where they're connected to the ground, to the floor. And now take another breath and see if you can notice the feeling of the air on your skin. See if you can notice that level of connectivity to your own skin. See if you can notice the air. And as you keep breathing and relaxing more deeply, just notice that you can give your nervous system permission to slow down. Maybe you say some words like, it's okay, I'm here. There's nothing you need to do right now except to receive. It's okay to relax. See what words, if any, allow you to relax even more deeply. And notice if that was pleasurable for you, the conscious choice to let yourself slow down a little bit more. Notice if that felt enjoyable. So I want you just to put your hand on your heart and take a breath into that area of your body, your whole chest. Feeling the pressure of your hand there. Play with the pressure. See if you like it lightly or a little more pressure on your chest. See what feels good. And just breathe into your heart. Giving your heart space to have whatever experience it's having right now. And then putting your other hand on your belly and taking a breath into that hand, feeling your belly expand and meet your hand as you inhale. And then again, still with your eyes closed, bringing your hands in front of you and just rubbing them together a little to create a little bit of warmth in your hands. Just rubbing them back and forth, creating some warm energy in your hands. And then I want you to slowly start touching your right arm with your left hand, giving some gentle squeezes up your forearm. Or maybe even more gentle. Maybe you don't want squeezes. Maybe you want more of a long touch. Find the touch that feels most pleasurable for you. And just going all the way up to your shoulder, gently bringing consciousness to your whole right arm. And then switching hands, your right hand to your left arm. Gentle touches or gentle squeezes, just saying hello to your left arm, the whole length of it. Saying with your hands as you touch your arm, I'm here. I'm here with you. I've got you. Moving your hands now to your neck, maybe raising your head a little so you can have full access to your neck. Touching your neck gently, maybe even tenderly, whatever feels good to you. Find what kind of touch feels pleasurable to your neck this morning. Maybe a light feather touch up to your face. Move up to your face. Hold your face gently or stroke your face gently. Like your beloved would hold your face, just, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, I see you. Just touching your face with such exquisite love and gentleness, as if you're your own lover. Letting your hands move in ways that resonate with you. And taking a breath. And if you like the back of your neck touched, wander your hands around to the back of your neck, under your hair, gently touching. If you like a little scratch, do a little scratch there. Whatever feels good to you, giving yourself permission to be creative. And then moving your hands down your chest, firmly or gently as you prefer, over your heart, all the way over your breasts, over your sternum, your ribs, maybe giving a little squeeze to your ribs, to your diaphragm. See what that feels like. Saying hello to your belly, giving a little belly massage. Hello, belly. Maybe moving your hips around a little bit as you move in your chair or on the ground. Moving your hips and rotating your hips is one way to bring more pleasure to your body. And remembering to take breaths as you move, just enjoying the sensation of being touched. Just really letting yourself enjoy receiving touch. And moving down to your genitals, not forgetting them. Stroking over, down, starting with your right leg. So down to your right inner thigh, both hands over your thigh, all the way down your leg to your calves. And if you can reach all the way down to your feet, squeezing your feet. Hello, feet. Bringing some grounding energy down your legs. We forget the lower half of our body sometimes. So if you like gentle touch or light touch or firm touch or squeezy touch, try what you feel good with. Coming back up again to your left thigh, doing the same thing, bringing your leg present here, squeezing it, stroking it all the way down to your feet. And then if you can bring your whole body upright, then opening your arms to the sky and opening your whole body with a deep breath. And coming in for another one of those 7-second hugs to wrap us up, just squeezing ourselves and holding ourselves and being present to ourselves. Saying some kind words. I love you. I'm so grateful to be here with you. I've got you. And 2 more seconds and 1 more breath. Oh. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. That was beautiful, and what just wonderful reminders to ask those really good questions. What would bring me pleasure? What would add pleasure to this moment? It's such a wonderful one that I suggest we all post in our various rooms in the house and just remind ourselves to bring pleasure in and to keep adding it to our experience. What nourishes us, what brings us pleasure, and to really keep that in the forefront. So I appreciate the way that you're doing that and sharing all of that with us. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I'll be sending out the recording. I'll send out how to contact Elizabeth in that email. Hopefully I'll only send 1 email. I keep forgetting things and sending 2. So I promise to slow down tonight and send 1 email. Yeah, feel free to keep posting in the chat. I'm just reading like thank yous and touching myself really works. Yeah, tears involuntary down my cheeks. Yes. This brings you back to yourself and your heart, which is so important.
So good.
Yeah. Tomorrow we have Nina Mandelson, who's going to be talking. She's a nutrition and body coach. And she is a burst of fresh air and fresh energy. And we'll talk about deeply nourishing ourselves in different ways today through pleasure.
More. Yay.
Join us tomorrow. And anything you want to say, Elizabeth?
No, I'm just grateful. Thank you. Being in this conversation is a nourishing support to me too. And so keep having these conversations with people about pleasure and what's nourishing to them, and keep yourself accountable to that too. That's what I'm doing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day. Beautiful day. Blessed
Bye.
day. See you tomorrow.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for coming. Come back.
Yep, tomorrow.
Great. See you then.